What's up, YouTubers? Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to go over what you get out of the box when you purchase a ready-set Kyoshominiz MA-020 all-wheel drive 1/28 scale remote control car. I've already laid out everything that comes in the box onto the table to spare you the time to get right to it. The MA-020 will cost you around $200 depending on where you live as of late 2022 at the moment. This micro car is designed for a beginner to the hobby with everything ready to go out of the box. But with the right upgrades and modifications, this all-wheel drive car can almost keep up with the higher performance rear-wheel drive cars out there. I will cover all that in future videos when I add on each upgrade. Now, the only thing that you will need to get started that is not in the box is 8 AAA batteries of your choice, 4 for the car and 4 for the radio. I will be using some generic rechargeable batteries I got from Amazon for my radio and some 750 milliamp batteries from PN Racing I already have for my MA-003s, which is one of the most recent racing versions of the Kyosho line. The MA-020 is specifically designed for touring and drifting, but I think it's safe to say it's mainly used for drifting. The center of gravity is much higher in the all-wheel drive version, which isn't a big deal for drifting, but will negatively affect your handling for racing. The standard wheelbase for this one is 94mm and can be adjusted between 90 to 98mm to accommodate multiple bodies of your choice. Probably the biggest selling point for me was the highly detailed auto-scale bodies you can easily interchange on the miniz chassis. Many of these cars are my childhood favorites, so having the ability to swap out bodies and drive them around the house was hard to pass up. This will be the 4th 1/28 scale RC car added in my garage. As you can see on the left here, I have 2 MA-003s. On the top, the McLaren F1 GTR in Midnight Purple, which has a brushless motor powered by 2 S-lipos on a radio link transmitter. In the middle is a red chrome Lamborghini LP670-4 body, and it's a stock MA-003 with a stock transmitter, a brush motor, and AAA batteries. And the bottom, which is not actually a miniz, is a heavily modified WLToys K969, which is basically a cheap drift car and was also my first drift build. And it was all-wheel drive, but I converted it to rear-wheel drive and gave it maximum steering angle. And I also modded it to fit some low-profile miniz bodies from my MA-003s since it also had a 98mm wheelbase. So right now it has a stock brush motor, stock radio, and powered by a 2S lipo. And the body is a matte gunmetal gray McLaren 12C GT3. I'll be upgrading the electronics on it and switching to brushless in the near future, because my goal is to have 1 brushless and 1 brush racing setup, and then 1 of each brush and brushless drift builds. Back to the MA-020 though. As you can see, I chose the Nissan Skyline R34 GTR body in Millennium Jade. Not my favorite color, but not bad as there was no other color choice to choose for the ready set body anyway. You can buy bodies separately, either pre-painted in high detail like this one, or you can get them unpainted like this guy right here. And they come in white, usually. And I've already actually I actually 3D printed a wing for it already. And then all you have to do is sand it down and then paint it any color you want. And as you can see on the left, the 2 McLarens I have, I actually painted myself. And then the other 2 are actually auto scale bodies, the Lamborghini and the Skyline were painted from the factory. So I have multiple other bodies I will show later on in some other videos, but right now we're just going to continue to talk about the MA-020, and then right now I'm going to get back into what comes out of the box. Alright, let's take a look at everything else that's in the box. First is a little bag of pinions and spur gears, it looks like, and extra motor mounts and other spare parts. Guess I can open this up. Yeah. Little pinions, different sizes so you can change the gear ratios, extra motor mounts. Yeah. All right. Then, looks like we have a little bag of tools and the little battery hatch holder. Some really small little washers, it looks like, too. I don't want to lose those. I think that's so you can actually bind your radio. A little tool to bind it. Don't need that. Just a little battery hatch. And this tool is to remove the little nuts that hold your wheels on. So I'll keep that out. And if you're going to change any pinions on your motor, this little tool, pop it off the motor shaft. All right. Then I'll have to figure out where those go later. Of course, there's a manual. Skim through that later. And then these 10 little cones, or actually 20, sorry. 20 little cones. You can set up your own little drift course on the ground somewhere. And the radio, KT531P, pretty much their basic standard radio nowadays. It takes 4 AAA, which I'll take the opportunity to do that now. All right. Just using some little generic ones, little 800 milliamp batteries I got off Amazon. Gotta love these little slide trays. There we go. All right, so the blinking means it's in training mode, and I don't want to be in training mode. I want to have full power to the motor and everything, so I'll be changing that. So to do that, you gotta hold the trigger full throttle and then turn on the radio. Give it a second. And let off. And now it's stopped beeping. It should be a solid light. It means we're out of training mode, and it should just give me normal full power. It's in normal mode, whatever you want to call it now. Good. That's ready to go. And last is, of course, the car that comes in the box. They do a pretty good job painting these things from the factory. I'll take that body off in a second. Just take a look at the box. So if anybody wants to see a closer look at the box. 3 easy steps: open the box, install batteries, you're ready to drift. And of course, that's where the car would be. Just took it out already for you. You know, what's nice about these bodies is they just unclip from the sides and on the front. This little plastic tongue goes right into there. It's hard to see here. Just slot right in, and then these two side clips slide right back over into place. It's right back on. At first it kind of seems kind of scary bending these little bodies off, but they're pretty strong. They can handle it, as you can see. Seems like it's made of like cheap plastic, but I mean, they're pretty good for what they are. Yeah. Almost seems a little overpriced. But you know, it is what it is. Make sure you remove this little plastic piece too after you take it out of the box. This little clip. It'll block your batteries from going in. So this is where the 4 AAA batteries go. I'll remove that sticker later. And both stickers. And this is where the receiver, ESC and everything is. And you can plug in for LEDs like headlights, taillights, and then a little gyro, which I actually have. I'll be installing that later on. Yeah, check the suspension right when you get it. Make sure it doesn't stick. A little tight, but not too bad. It's pretty good. Let's check the back. Yeah, real easy. Much easier than the front. And I'll be changing the stiffness of the springs in the front and back. Future upgrades. Pretty nice. And of course the Skyline. All right. Pretty much next step is driving it. I haven't driven it yet. I've had a lot of fun driving this little guy around. So I'll do a video later on this one. The steering angle is pretty crazy. One of my MA-020s. Put the Lambo on it right now. I swap out different bodies, like, you know, all the time. Right now I just like the red chrome Lamborghini. And I'll probably put something else on it later on. I guess I could show you without the chassis. There we go. Yeah, I got a lot of extra stuff added on it. I'll cover in a future video. And these bodies, I have digital LEDs underneath them too, as well as headlights and taillights. Show that later on. This video is not about this guy. All right, that's pretty much it for this unboxing. Now, next part is driving this little guy. I guess I could check to make sure that it binds first. It should be right away. But let's pop some batteries in it. Gotta put them deep in there. Make sure you put them the right way, obviously. It's hard to see. I'm actually doing it right on the second too. Yeah. It doesn't have a very big steering angle, but we'll see what we can do later on about that. Let's turn it on. Maybe I should turn the radio on first, that'd be nice. Let's make sure, yep, right is right, left is left. Reverse, forward. Right, left. Nice. So, let's see what this thing can do on the ground. Okay, before I start this test drive, I just want to go over a few things, especially some of the things you want to think about before you start driving one of these is what surface you're going to be driving on, and then what kind of tires you're going to need to drive on those surfaces. The stock miniz MA-020 tires are probably more for hardwood floor, maybe even carpet, than say this very smooth concrete that I'm going to be driving on. But this is what I'm just going to be testing out on for now. I'm going to be switching the tires out later anyway, so I'll just have to make it work. It's probably going to struggle on this surface because it's going to be more frictionless than anything, but I'll see what I can do. And then I forgot to talk about some upgrades and things I want to do to it that I will show in some future videos. Some of the most important things that you want to put on this thing after you get it. I would say the front and rear differentials are very important, especially the front one-way differential, which I already have, and then a rear rigid axle. And these will drastically improve the performance of it from the stock set. So I'll talk about these more in videos later. A small change I have will be a toe out bar, just a -1 degree one looks like, and that'll just help the tires just go out just a little bit more, and then I'll help entering turns and everything. So that is a small little upgrade that's pretty easy to do. And then changing the camber as well. I have some knuckles that can change the camber of the tires, leaning more in just a little bit. That'll help as well. And then I have some springs, front and back springs. I think right now the stock setup is very soft springs in the back, very stiff springs in the front, and it's kind of backwards. So I'll eventually change it to more softer in the front and then stiffer in the back, and that should help the handling a little bit more. So I don't know why they set these things up the way they do, but after you upgrade them, they drive a lot better. So I do have a better motor, a brushed motor I'll throw in it later too, one of these little X-Speed motors. I'll just throw in there for the hell of it. And then I also will be doing the counter steer upgrade as well, which is going to be a little bit of do-it-yourself modification. I'm going to have to take some of these gears and make my own gears to make that work. And then that should help the rear tires spin almost twice, as many rotations as say the front tires do, which will help it'll help it handle more like a rear-wheel drive car, and that's really what I'm shooting for, because I'm I'm used to driving rear-wheel drive drifting cars more than all-wheel drive right now, so it's gonna feel a lot different. Let's see, oh yeah, so the tires, I have CS F5s and LF1s. Let's see, the LF1s, these little sheets they have on here tell you what surface they're good for. So let's see. So yeah, so CF5 is going to be more for like concrete and everything. That's what I'm usually going to be driving around on. Also LF1s here will be more for marble, tile and stuff, but I have like smooth concrete, so the LF1s might be better on that than say these CF F5s, but I guess that's what I'm gonna do is test them both out and see which ones do better on that surface. And then I do have LF4s on some other wheels already, and I'll be testing those probably on like carpet and you know, surfaces like that, which these are things you just gotta, you know, keep in mind, otherwise you're not gonna really get a very good driving experience if you don't have the right tires for what you're driving on, and you know, something so simple to swap out to make it drive better. So I just wanted to go over those things. I will be doing some, you know, other stuff like FPV, you know, first-person view stuff on these cars as well. I'll add cameras and transmitters and try to drive them around like, you know, first person, as well as adding some third-person cameras. I have one of the Cadix Peanuts, or Insta360 Go 2 really, and you know, it has built-in stabilizer and everything, so I can just strap this on the back of the cars and get really stable footage even if it's bouncy. And it's pretty lightweight, like 20 to 30 grams for one of these, so that'll be fun. I also have been 3D printing different parts, mainly spoilers, you know, wings, whatever you want to call them. I'm gonna put this one on the Skyline later on down the road. I'll have to epoxy and sand and paint it. But yeah, I like how I can just print out stuff for it. And yeah, let's see. I think that's pretty much it for upgrades and other stuff like that. So I guess the next best thing is to get right down to driving so you guys can see, you know, how this thing does on, say, slick concrete. You know, it's not the most ideal surface to drive on, but you know, I'll give you an idea. And yeah, I'm not really like an expert driver either, so you know, bear with me. I'm still learning as I go. So, like I said, this is my second drifting car. You know, I don't have any other drifting cars except for the WLToys K969. So I'm still learning, but I feel like I have a good idea, you know, of what's going on and everything, so you can tag along with me as I figure this stuff out. But all right, let's get to driving this thing. Okay, everything's turned on and ready to go. Like I said, I will be testing it on this smooth concrete surface in the garage. The tires that come on the stock miniz MA-020 I think are more for hardwood floor or carpet, like I was saying. So you know, we'll see how it does on this surface. It might be a little bit too slick, you know, but we gotta make do with what we got, because this is what I'm gonna be testing it on. Of course, I have the upgrades and everything that'll make the handling much better down the road, and then of course the other wheels that I can put on that are for this kind of surface I can test. You know, I'll do that later on after this, but right now I'm just going to show how it would drive out of the box. Nothing has been changed yet, and if you're going to drive on your garage floor, how it would do. So let's get into it. All-wheel drive is a little bit difficult to get used to. Seems like you need more speed as well. It's not bad, but it's, you know, it's kind of slippery. And I'm also very, you know, new to this stuff. I'm not like a huge expert on drifting yet. So I'm better at rear-wheel drive drifting, so all-wheel drive is not my strong suit. But, you know, I'm trying to get better at it. Sorry if I go off screen. I'm doing my best to keep it in the picture, but you know, it just wants to do its own thing sometimes, so bear with me. I feel like it doesn't turn right as good as it does left. That's because of the weight distribution in this car is kind of off. I think it's heavier on one side more than the other, which affects its driving on one side. Yep. Yeah, it's not terrible, but it definitely needs some upgrades, and you know, I obviously need more practice as well. But you know, that's just giving you a taste of how it drives. I need some more time with it to really get used to how it drives. It seems like you need more speed to really get it to do what it needs to do. And it either oversteers or understeers too much. So I really want to try some different tires on this surface and see if that makes a difference on the kind of grip I'm going to get. And then of course I want to start throwing some upgrades on it here soon so I can really see how good this thing can drive. So I hope you guys enjoyed my review of this MA-020 little Skyline of mine. I hope that you can join me in some future videos and upgrades that I'm going to be doing to it, and hopefully you learned something, if anything, out of here. Appreciate all your time. Thanks for stopping in.